Hey everyone, welcome to the Daily Try. My name's Travis, and this is a new series I'm starting called 7 Questions With. And I hope to get a pro triathlete on every week or somebody else from the triathlon world to talk to and ask some of the burning questions I have and that hopefully you have as well. So, starting us off today, we've got Trevor Foley. Thank you so much, Trevor, for joining us. You've had an incredible start to your season so far with a lot of races, and you've stormed to number 32 in the world so far. Welcome. Thank you for joining me.
Yeah, thanks, man. I appreciate it. Really excited to try to talk a little bit and have some people maybe get to know me a little better on a personal level. I know thanks to the Lionel videos, I've had quite a bit of new followers and a couple good results. So
your manager tell you that you needed to hit 10,000 followers?
Yeah, like I said, maybe people can know a few little things about me now.
Tell us a little bit about that and your background to start us off. But I want to hear about this 10,000 Instagram followers and where that all started from, if you don't mind.
Yeah. So background real quick is I grew up running from the age of 11 and did that all the way through middle school, high school, college at a super competitive level. I was addicted to running super competitively, wanted to go to the Olympics for it, go to Division I college, all that kind of stuff, and achieved most of my dreams in that. Ended up getting an injury during COVID and kind of found cross training. I feel like it's a pretty common story. And then one thing led to another, and I had a few good results early on. And my second pro race ever actually was Indian Wells 2021 when Vincent Louis and Lionel raced. And I was in that race as well. I got fifth, and I think Lionel just maybe took notice. I was a younger guy, and he was like, "Oh man, who's this guy who almost outran everybody?" And so we chatted for a little bit and kind of exchanged numbers and kept in touch. And honestly, just kind of grew a little bit of a friendship over 2022 season. And then honestly, at the end of last year, he had invited me out to come train with him, and I can't pass up an offer, to go train with Lionel Sanders. So it's been pretty good. And like you said, I was in a few of his YouTube videos, and one of my goals, not a massive goal, but a goal, because obviously a massive side of professional sports, especially triathlon, is social media. So a goal I had set at the beginning of the year was to reach 10,000 followers, as that looks a little better and you can reach a few more people and stuff like that for sponsors and stuff.
Oh, that's awesome. And then they got behind that, it seemed like, and started pushing it.
Yeah, the Lionel Army just came in clutch, and I gained I think I'm almost at 12,000 followers now, and I think when the vlog started, I was almost at 6. So basically doubled my following. Pretty crazy.
Wow, that's awesome. Back to what you just said earlier, your journey to triathlon and your dreams of running before that. Do you ever miss it? Do you ever have any second guesses about the triathlon journey you're on now? What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, a little bit, because right now would be my senior year in track. So I actually forgo the last 2 years of my eligibility in college, to run within the NCAA at the University of Florida, just because I was pretty intrigued with triathlon. I think I could do pretty good at it. I really loved it. So I kind of went all in, and I kind of miss it sometimes, especially in the springtime when track season kicks up. And last weekend was the conference meet, NCAA's is in a month. So I'm oh, I'll have a little bit of FOMO. And it also doesn't help that I only got 2 full track seasons in college, because my third was with COVID. So I don't think I ever reached my full potential in running. So a little bit of FOMO and stuff, but it comes and goes. But I love triathlon, and it's, definitely was the right decision for me.
Awesome. Good to hear. All right. So you did a lot of races last year in 2022. It seems like you're following suit this year with 4 races, you said, in 43 days. Holy smokes. Tell us a little
Yeah.
bit about that, starting in Oceanside, and what made you make that decision to do so many races so quickly?
Yeah. I raced. I didn't even really realize I raced that much last year until people were like, "Oh man, Trevor raced a lot." And I was like, "Oh, I guess I did." Because in running, if you run the 5K or the 1500, you race every week or every other week. So I kind of was never even thinking of it. But I guess the mindset in which why I wanted to race a lot is I think last year I raced 11 times, I think is what it was. So that's, and then two 70.3s the year prior while I was still on the track team. So that's what is 13 triathlons, and now I've raced 4. So I've done like less than 20 triathlons in my whole life. So just to be honest, like it's kind of just like a trial by fire, basically. Like I'm still so new to like the swim, bike, run motions. I'm putting it all together. I learned so much mentally, physically every time I line up, and then also too like it's my job. So hopefully, if you do good at these races, you get paid. So it's kind of a plethora of things, like getting experience, getting a fitness boost, trying to get a paycheck, like kind of the like uh, whole idea is behind why I'm kind of doing it.
All right. So starting us off in Oceanside this year, and then take us through to the most recent race you did. How did Oceanside go, and how did it progress through Ironman Texas and then St. George?
Yeah, Oceanside was pretty big race for me. I mean, obviously we know the like strength of field that was there, the depth was really good, and that was my first race in quite a few months, and it went pretty good, I'd say. I had a decent day all the way around. And again, kind of going back to being pretty new to the whole, especially the swimming and biking aspect of things, I had pushed pretty great power at Oceanside, but I got out biked by like minutes compared to like some other guys. And then so I kind of tweaked my bike position a little bit and ended up like finding a practice, like I was going minutes faster. And it was weird because the months leading into it, Lionel and I would do like we did this workout like every other week sometimes. We just do 6 by 10 minutes at like 360, and we ride side by side, and we weigh pretty much the same, but he would pull away from me and we would be going the same power. And I'm like, man, it has to be like aerodynamics, you know what I mean? Because I had just kind of thrown some stuff together. And so I ended up changing that and found myself moving a lot quicker in Texas and then St. George and then now. So Oceanside was good. It was like a rust buster, if you want to say. And then moved on to Ironman Texas. I really wanted to do well there and try to get like a world slot. Because obviously Kona's not this year, but Kona's like my big dream. Like I think it's so cool. But my bike position, it was fast, but it was like too stretched out. And then so my hamstrings on the run, like I was literally running fine. And then they just like seized up like so bad. And I literally had to walk the last like 8 miles. And it was like mentally and physically the hardest thing I've ever had to do. I wanted to drop out so bad, but I didn't. Obviously Lionel's not a big fan of dropping out either. So I knew I couldn't come home to that. And then kind of like my wounds, moved on to St. George, kept the same bike fit, but just scrunched it up so there wasn't as much pressure on my hamstrings, and ended up having the fastest bike of the day, which was really good. I pushed great power, had great equipment, and just kind of came together, had a pretty good swim, and then kind of held on the run for second. I really thought Jackson was going to catch me for third, but that was just a massive like breakthrough race for me, just to kind of prove that like I'm progressing within the sport. I belong at like the upper end of triathlon. And then yeah, I figured why not do Florida. It's I have to head home anyway. I haven't been home in 5 months. I need to go see my girlfriend and my family. And I was like, oh man, I might as well just race one last time. And so I did, and I regretted it during it, but I'm glad
Oh
I
man.
did. Ended up getting fifth, but I was just destroyed. I was just exhausted from the first stroke, but still gutted out fifth place. So I was pretty happy with that.
Thank you. You're such a great speaker. You must have done lots of interviews before. It seems like don't know how you're able to keep all that in
Nah,
order. And
maybe it's the one public speaking class I've done back in college. So
all right. So on that, before we get to the 7 questions, I'm dying to ask you, what's next now? You've done your first 4 opening races. What is next for the rest of the season?
yeah, to be honest, I'm not 100% sure yet. Me and my girlfriend are currently in the process of actually we're going to move out to Tucson full time to continue to train with Lionel and try to develop and try to help him out to the best of my ability. And so we're in the midst of doing that. She's also like going to be attending PA school in a little bit. So trying to figure out that while talking to Lionel and letting the body recover. So maybe 70.3 Boulder, maybe 70.3 Mont Tremblant, something along those lines. I imagine will be one of my next races.
Now you're ranked number 32. You're pretty close to those PTO slots. Do you think
Yeah.
that might be on the cards as well, potentially, if you could?
Yeah, like, and I guess speaking more on a long-term view, yeah, I think I would like to, I think because Lionel and I have been talking about like the pinnacle of the season is we want to be in the best shape possible by August. Obviously that's when, Asian Open is, US Open, 70.3 Worlds, like kind of the accumulation of the season is really important to be at your best form for the half distance. So yeah, I think I think the US Open is the first weekend in August. So yeah, hopefully trying to get a slot for the US Open and then carry out I think it'd be like a 2 or 3 week like try to hold form for 70.3 Worlds. And then that's about it. I think that's about as good as a season I still could do if I could do both of those races and compete, decently competitive.
Yeah, that would be amazing. It sounds like a great season.
Yeah. And then
um,
fill in some 70.3s in the meantime there in July or something just to keep sharp.
Perfect. Do you think it's going to be a long season this season, or when you get done with that?
Um, Maybe. I think we'll see how the US Open and 70.3 Worlds goes, and then see what else the Ironman schedule has to offer. If there's any good races to do, or maybe just shut the season down and focus on developing my swim. Obviously, it's pretty hard to progress with like a lot in one sport when you're in the middle of a season. So, yeah, kind of playing it all by ear.
Sounds good. All right, on to the 7 questions. We started off pretty easy, and then we're going to get a little bit harder. So the first one is, what's been the biggest challenge of switching to doing triathlon instead of just running?
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy. It's the swim. I knew how to swim as a kid. Like I didn't know how to drown. I knew not to drown, so I knew how to survive in water, but I didn't know how to like properly lap swim. And so just starting that, 2, 3 years ago, it's just been a massive challenge to find efficiency and fitness and everything that you need to become a good swimmer. So that's definitely been my biggest struggle.
Makes sense. Super hard to start off late. Do you think now training with Lionel and that swim group there, have you found a new momentum with the swimming, and you think a breakthrough might be coming soon?
Yeah, maybe not a massive breakthrough, but like small gains. Like for example, in Oceanside, I think I was 2.5 minutes down to Sam. St. George, I was 2 minutes, and then Florida, I was 45 seconds. So kind of using that as a gauge, and just trying to make that Sam Lionel group, not necessarily those two in particular, but just kind of like that second pack in general. So yeah, I think the Aqua Bear swim group, swimming with Lionel, has been great for my swimming. So it's got to keep chipping away.
That's it. All right. Another easy one. Favorite bit of triathlon gear right now? It's a good chance to plug a sponsor, but something that you're using or wearing right now that's just like, oh yes, when you put it on or you use it.
Yeah. Well, I don't have a bike sponsor, but I'm gonna have to say the bike. I love the bike.
Okay.
I like cycling more than anything. If I could be a pro cyclist, that'd be pretty cool. So definitely like I'm gonna go ride my bike here in a little bit when we're done. And I just look forward to riding my bike more than anything. So
All right. That's awesome. Well, bike sponsors, look out for Trevor Foley.
there we go.
He will talk about your bike. All right. And then so you've been in triathlon for a little bit now. You were training on
Yep.
your own before Lionel, and now after training with Lionel, how has that changed the way you're training, maybe, but even on the other side, maybe just some mental changes you've noticed? Tell us a little bit
Yeah.
about that.
Yeah. I think a good example of like something I've learned with Lionel is we were doing a swim bike brick. This was a week before St. George. It was 8 days before 70.3 St. George. So it was basically like a 200-yard swim into a 10-minute bike, and we did this at Aqua Bear. So I had like the bike trainers and stuff, and we did that on repeat, like for like 5 or 6 times, and I was just having a really good day. For some reason, it was weird. And after number 4 or 3, I was like, oh man, I'm gonna smash like 400 watts for this next one. And Lionel's like, no, 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 like that's not the point. Like you got to save that for the race, like just keep
Mm.
at threshold. And I was like, oh, okay. And so I like didn't really want to listen, but I did listen because I feel like sometimes in the past when I was by myself, like when you feel good, it's very easy just to like hit that extra gear, you know, but he's like,
Mm.
dude, just save that for the race. And I listened, had a great workout, and I saved it for the race. I mean, I felt great in St. George and I was able to push all day. So I think that's something I've really learned from him is like building efficiency, not necessarily just destroying yourself every day. So
All right. So you've done so many races. We've talked about that. What are your biggest lessons so far in the race? You just mentioned some there from training. What are your biggest race lessons?
yeah, late race lessons, honestly, just mental strength, you know, especially when you're coming out of the water like pretty far back like me and you hear, you know, you're 4 or 5, 6 minutes down. It was really easy for me in the beginning to like get really embarrassed because you're like lost out of the water or like you're insecure and you're like, oh man, like the whole race is up the road. But like that's just been something I've had to learn. And just like I come out of the water, if it's 3 minutes or it's 4 minutes, I just have to like take it with stride and realize like my day gets better with every leg. So honestly, just mental toughness is like the biggest thing I've learned. You know, like triathlon, it is a pretty individual sport. So that's just something I've been trying to work on. You know, in every race and every day in practice, especially now as we're seeing like a lot of these races are coming down to, you know, sprint finishes, which is pretty crazy. So, and, you know, even the last 5 minutes is important. You could catch somebody.
All right. So with that said, what is your biggest goal then for triathlon?
Oh, for my entire career,
Yes.
um, honestly, I love triathlon. I love that I'm able to like exercise as a job. And so if I could somehow inspire others, whether that's other pros, age groupers, younger athletes to do the same, um, and just live like a healthy lifestyle. Like people ask me all the time, like what I love about triathlon. And honestly, it's just a lifestyle, the healthy lifestyle, and it's motivating to chase your goal. And so honestly, like biggest goal is try to do my best. I think my best could be pretty good against some of the best people in the world, maybe one day. So honestly, yeah, just inspiring others and trying to get the most out of myself. And I think I'm going to have the most fulfillment. And if I try to do that,
Dang, that's a very stoic answer. I love it.
appreciate it.
um, so, yeah, I was expecting a little bit of a different one there, maybe like a more of a numerical goal, but I could still ask this next question the same. What do you
Yeah.
think it will take for you to achieve that goal?
Yeah. I think I guess to go back and go a little, like the last question a little bit, like, do I think I can be like one of the best in the world or the best in the world one day? Like, I think I do. I think I have the abilities to do so, whether that's first or that's seventh, I don't know. But in order to do that, it's going to be, you know, making the second swim pack and then being the best bike runner in the world. For me, obviously everyone's different, but one day I'm gonna have to learn how to swim in the second pack and be the fastest, strongest bike runner. And if I want a chance to be one of the best, so that's pretty, you know, easy to say it out loud, but a lot of work going to be behind that in the next few years to try to make that happen.
So, we're on to the hot question now. And
Yeah.
you said you're comfortable answering a couple, so I might throw in a bonus one here.
All
But
right.
who do you think is going to win the Ironman World Championship this year? And I'll give you the option to do the Olympics if you'd rather, or you could do both. So, Ironman World Championships or Olympics or both.
Yeah. I'll do the Olympics first, real quick, just because
All right.
Yokohama just happened, so it's fresh in my mind. To be honest, I'm a big Vincent Louis fan, big Morgan Pearson fan. I think those guys are studs, and I think they can. I know they both have had some injury problems the last little bit, but I think, you know, especially Morgan. Morgan, when he's healthy, is one of the best runners in the world, and Vincent Louis is one of the best, you know, swim bike runners in the world. So I think, you know, one of those two guys are going to win it. I think so. Those guys are studs. When it comes to women, probably Taylor Knibb if she can stay healthy as well. I mean, she's pretty dominant. She just got third in Yokohama, you know, and she's coming off of an injury. So I think that. And then for Nice, I'm gonna have to say Magnus Ditlev for the win. Yeah, I'm a big Magnus fan. I think he's awesome, super humble, super inspiring. And then for the women, man, who's gonna win for the women? I'm gonna say Lucy Charles.
All right. Ooh, big call there. That would be so good. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think for the whole triathlon community, that would be a good one. We'd hate to
for
see her
sure.
get second, that's for sure. Again.
Hey, I mean, second's got to still be pretty good, but yeah, I'm sure she
Oh,
wants to
yes.
stay on the top step eventually.
Yes, I agree. All right. I'm gonna give you one more bonus one. Thank you so much for answering all of these. Okay, one for us. I'm gonna go with this one. What is the biggest key to success for those of us normal triathletes, that you could give us as a pro that really works for you? That's the biggest key, you think?
Yeah, this might sound like not like the best answer, but honestly, consistency. Like I feel like people lack that the most. Like if you can train 7 days a week, every day, every week, every month, that's gonna be so good for your training. Rather than just doing like these like weekend warrior sessions or these hero sessions, right? So even if it's just like a 20-minute run, like especially that coming from a run background, like I tried to run every day, even if it was just a quick 4 mile run, because you're just keeping the body going. It's consistent. You're not having these lulls in fitness or training. So that would be my biggest word of advice, is try to stay consistent. And that's something I try to live by every day. Like it's just getting a little bit something every day and just, 0.5% better every day.
I love it. I feel like we hear that one a lot, but it's the hardest to do. But
It is the hardest. Yeah. But I think that's why I think it's why you hear it a lot. I think it
yeah,
reap the most benefits.
that's fair. All right. Thank you so much, Trevor, for all the time and answering all of those questions and for giving us your picks. I know that can be hard to do as a pro, I'm sure, but I'm sure Magnus and Lucy are going to DM you, and thank you for that.
There you go.
Is there anything else you'd like to add? Tell the viewers before I let you go.
No, I think that's about it. Just anyone who cheers me on course, I've been hearing a lot more cheers as of late. I really appreciate it. And yeah, if you're at a race, definitely come say hi. So
awesome. Sounds good. And everybody watching, make sure you follow Trevor on Instagram. Help him smash that 10K goal. He's almost at 12, so help him get to 12 at least. And I've heard a little rumor. I can cut this out if need be, but I've heard he might be starting a YouTube channel soon, so keep an eye out that space.
Maybe. We'll see.
All right. Yeah. So thank you guys so much for watching. Really appreciate it. Hopefully we can do this every week. Thank you so much. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.